everybody. Christy and Rocco here. We're going to try something new. We're going to do some quick takes on some current events that are happening in the world right now. And today's talk in particular, we want to talk about how Congress authorized nearly $2 billion for autism research and autism support for the Autism CARES Act in the United States here. And we're going to do something different today. We're going to set a timer for 15 minutes. And we're going to go through, give you the quick and dirty of what we're thinking. And we'd love to hear what you think about this topic below as well. And if you want to hear more things like this, please comment or reach out to us directly.
Yes. Jump in. All right. Autism CARES Act. It is.
Oh, yes.
It is the thing that pays the stipend for my fellowship. Woohoo! A stipend that I cannot collect because I am a disabled person.
and on another episode, funding. Well, we do. So, I mean, Christy, we're going to be doing an episode on that called "Benefits to Billions."
Yes.
In the coming months here.
We will. We will talk about that specifically in another episode. But it does do a lot of really amazing stuff. And one of those things is it pays for, yes, the fellowships that I am a part of through Lend and that Rocco has been a part of, and that are the fellows that do a lot of work in the background for us are a part of, and that is this program actually helps to teach about early intervention strategies and helps people to learn how to diagnose early and do assessment. And so there's a lot of really good stuff that comes out of that program as well as many other programs. And so I think this money is well spent in a lot of ways, and so it's a really good thing that they have decided to keep spending this money on this and other programs.
Exactly right. I mean, this is a show me the money situation.
Exactly.
In a capitalistic society, if you really care about something, you put funding and resources towards it, and it's nice to see that something that had huge bipartisan support got $2 billion. Trying to get any money through the government is difficult, let alone, $2 billion is not a small amount. And that's really cool. And it's spread across a lot of different things, for better, for worse, right? Sometimes, would that $2 billion be great to just go towards resources as defined by autistic people? Probably, yes. But it's good that there is money in that direction, and that's something people can jump off and build off of, I think.
Yeah, I think, and you pointed out there was one quote, though, that was a little bit maybe disturbing to autistic people, that, there was a bit about remedies, that this will go toward remedies, and that is a thing that autistic people kind of... for the most part, not all, because we are not a monolith, but many people would kind of react badly to, because we don't consider that autism is something that needs to be remedied. It is just a way of being. It is just a neurodiverse way of being, and that we are all different. We have different brains, and this is one way of having a brain that works in a different kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Different patterns of thinking and different ways of socializing, and that's an okay thing to be, and that we don't necessarily need to change that. We don't need to force people into a particular box of neuronormativity, and so some of those kind of responses are a little bit problematic, where we would really like the focus not to be on remedying anything about autistic people, but rather, being accepting, understanding, and sort of putting these funds toward things that are going to benefit us in ways that express who we are and what we want. So...
Exactly. And kind of along that, I have an article pulled up by Disability Scoop, and we'll put this in the show notes below as well, if you have access to that. I think you have to have a paid subscription for this, but honestly, it's very, very low, and this really gives some excellent insight. And it's kind of written not with one particular viewpoint or support in mind. They kind of deliver the information, and it's, you kind of make your own assumptions on that. And I like that. I think that's refreshing about a news story. So the quote here says, and this is from Representative Chris Smith, Republican from New Jersey, said, I know this legislation will help make a huge difference in the lives of millions of Americans with autism by providing robust funding for durable remedies, which we already kind of talked about and we'll continue to talk about, as well as effective early detection and intervention services to allow them the highest quality of life possible. So on face value, yes, highest quality of life possible, but like you said, Christy, it has to be defined by the people that are receiving the services, not just saying, this is what's good for you. Contrary to popular belief that some people think, if you have a disability, especially autism, that you can't make your own decisions. And in some cases, that might be the case, depending on their situation. But by and large, that's not the case for most folks. So how do we check in? How do we do that assent and consent? And for me specifically, putting our LEND hat on and thinking of disability studies, durable remedies, early detection, and intervention services all feel very medicalized to me, of like, cool, we're putting money to try to eliminate autism.
Right.
And, that's a huge concern, and there could be things where it's like, here's training services to help people understand autism more, but it should be led by autistic individuals to be able to do that, not just trying to squash it out.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we had an episode earlier, I forget what number episode it was, but on fixing, just like the concept of fixing and the medical model versus a more like social model. And so I definitely think that this is one of those kinds of things where like, right, how are we looking at people? Are we looking them as though we need to like change them, fix them, kind of like, rearrange their life in a way that means they are somehow, in a hierarchical space where like, oh, you're not quite good enough, you're not meeting this measure, we need to, get you up to here. Like that's not an appropriate way to look at humans at all, ever. So having a viewpoint that says, hey, you are okay the way that you are, this is the way that you are meant to be, that is fine, but also how can we support you in this world and in this life in ways that make life equitable for you, and make things easier and better for you as a disabled person. Like that's, I think, how we should always be looking at every disability, not just some sort of neurodiverse situation, but for everything. So
absolutely right, because it's like, if you're trying to change the world and create a better paradigm for people, it's not hammering the individual to interact with the world, it's changing the world so people can interact with it in the way that they can.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
More universal design, right? And I'm hopeful. There was another quote in this article by Robin Linscott. They are the Director of Family and Education Policy at the ARC of the United States. And if you don't know what the ARC is, there's a lot of sub pieces around the United States. So, for example, there's ARC of Illinois that Christy and I are familiar with as well. And they said, the Autism CARES Act goes far beyond funding. It's a commitment to ensuring better futures for millions, from early intervention services that help young children grow and learn, right? So grow and learn, that's not necessarily as medicalized, to programs addressing the growing gaps in adult services, because that service cliff, once you hit 22 years old, there's not school services anymore. There's many funding opportunities, many social service opportunities go away after you're 22 if you have a disability. And the final piece of this is this legislation moves us closer to ensuring that all individuals have access to the care that they need. So when I look at these two things, the representative is kind of almost taking it like a medicalized approach, saying we have additional services to help and assist, and that might be not necessarily led by the person, but then we have the person from the ARC of the United States saying, yes, but the care that they need. And where do you get the need? How do you know if someone needs the care? The person. The person can tell you that. Yeah. Whoa.
Shocking.
Oh my gosh.
I might know what I need. What?
No, can't possibly.
Oh.
I'm an expert and I know what you need. So I think that's really, promising. And it's kind of interesting to see, even in the same article, and people talking about the same thing, that there's kind of this push and pull between. And I'm glad that both are showing up, because I feel like mainly services in general are very medicalized and ableistic in that way now. But it's nice to see more people saying, like, yes, also, cool that we can have access to more care. Let's make sure that it's the care that we're actually looking for and not doing this. And I say this, I don't have an autistic identity, but this is something that, we talk a lot about, Christy, on here, and we talk about on our shows. We have an excellent set of podcast episodes with Dr. Arnall and Alexandra as well. So there's a lot of really good pieces if you want to learn more about that we'll put in the show notes as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's really important to look at also the policy that is coming out and how this affects people. And so we have some episodes coming up that are really based in a lot of that. One from Jae Jin Pak, who does a lot of policy work, and he's also going to be talking a lot about how to be a good ally and intersectionality and how that connects to allyship and some of the work that he has done. So I think that is really great. And then following that, we're going to have an episode with Dom Kelly, who is with New Disabled South. And one of the things that I love about New Disabled South is that they have this online sort of like library where they put policy and they put it in plain language, because it can be so difficult for you to like look at these things that are coming out through the government, and then like they're written in ways where like you really can't understand it, and they make it
things are hidden.
No, they make
there's other things caked in policies.
So ridiculous to look at and find what's truly in those bills. And so I love that they put that in there and they make it really accessible for people, so that when you do, call your representative and you are looking at things, you can be like, no, this is terrible. Don't vote for this, or do look at this. And again, in that what the episode we have coming up about the benefits to billions, we might talk a little bit about some of the legislation that's coming out or is up for votes, that is about some of these things that affect disabled people, but that you kind of don't know about, because the way that the language is put in there, it makes it sound like a good thing, but it might not be a great thing, because the language is so confusing, and it's not very aware is the word that's coming to me, but not that. It doesn't make it easy for you to see. Yeah, that's
accessible, right?
Right, exactly. It's not accessible, and it's not something that you can easily notice when you're looking at it, and it doesn't say to you like, oh yeah, that's obvious. Obvious, that's the word that my brain was looking for. My brain is not always have things obvious. Maybe I'd be really good at writing legislation, because
put that on
it takes a really long time for my brain to find the words that are accessible.
Fair. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I feel that. And especially, we're at the beginning of 2025 here, and we have, it's a busy year. A lot of things.
So much
popping up in the world.
The world is figuratively and literally on fire.
On fire again. What is going? Anyway, so that's a whole nother
I know.
episode.
My friends in LA tell me it is a combination of dryness and wind and, things. These conditions have not happened since the 60s, but it is horrific, and it is apocalyptic, and it is a lot right now. I feel for everyone out there.
Absolutely.
It is a lot of chaos, and it's interesting. I posted something the other day, or comment the other day, because people were getting a little weird about I think it was in Brazil or Colombia, I forget, but in some other country, someone would posted about like, oh, hey, there's these really nice new parking spaces that are for people with neurodivergence. And so they had these, special spaces for people that, might have some sort of anxiety or elopement or other kinds of issues that weren't like the regular disability parking spaces. And it was interesting because some people got really mad about that. They were like, no, you shouldn't take those spaces for people that have these issues. They need to be for people that have physical issues. And I was like, okay, like, why are we fighting about this? We should be on the same side. Like there's strength in numbers.
Well, exactly.
And like we should be working together. We shouldn't be defining ourselves by, I have a physical disability, I have a mental disability, I have a psychological, I have a neuro, like I feel like we should be working together, and allyship needs to be something that pulls us together, not breaks us apart. And
exactly.
I don't know where I was going with that. Go ahead,
No,
Rocco. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So I mean, in reference to that, and like going back to the policy making that we have here, that's the piece of it, right? So look at these scenarios where we have additional resources, be it money, be it spaces, be it funding, be it time, be it people's interactions. It has to be group efforts and not just one group deciding what is going to be best for everybody, even if it's like consultation, because you don't want to be the person that's like, I talked with my disabled friend and this is what it's like for everybody. Yes. And it's like, hold on, when has that ever worked?
Right. No tokenism is going to be
no
helpful.
Tokenism.
Yeah.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Right.
So I think that's really the big piece here. And real quick, we have 23 seconds left.
Oh, gosh.
So we're doing it. So this is, a big piece. So to kind of jump off what Christy said, I really feel like it is that coming together in a way while still honoring the differences as much as possible too. But as everybody comes together, the more voices that we have, we can make these things better. And as funding like this, like the Autism CARES Act comes together, we encourage people to talk to other people and talk to representatives and say, hey, I see where this is going. That's awesome. Here are some considerations to make this more accessible based on what the communities actually want and need.
Yeah.
Christy, do you have any final thoughts for us on
just
this as well?
Honoring that there's a huge spectrum out there, but that like we all have needs, and that addressing all of our needs as much as possible. And I know that sounds really big, but I don't think that it is. I think that listening to people, hearing what they say, and then trying to address as much as we can, as often as we can, is really the way to go. But it starts with hearing disabled voices, hearing us and saying, yes, you are the expert in your own experience. And I'm going to honor that and recognize that. And so I think, for people listening to this right now, what can I do right now? You can hear disabled stories, and you can listen well, and you can support them appropriately based on what they are telling you they need.
Exactly. And not formulating an answer as you're listening, because that's not good listening.
Yes.
And actually, we have a paper on this, not to put a plug in there, but there's a whole paper we have. I'll put it in the chat. I'll put it in the show notes below. So I think that's great. So if that's our quick take for today. So if folks want more of this as well, we'll be doing a few of these, and the episodes that we're referencing will add to the show notes as things kind of go forward. But otherwise, we look forward to hearing your thoughts. Make sure that you comment below or reach out to us directly about some of your thoughts and ideas with this too.
Yes. We're looking forward to much, much more in the new year. So can't wait to, well, I can't wait to keep talking. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Rocco will too.
I'm the sidekick here, okay?
The Robin to my Batman. Except I'm not. Except I'm not wealthy. It's like a really sad iteration of Batman because I don't have like a cool car or like a suit or like.
You do have some cool wheels there.
I was gonna say the Batmobile is like behind me there. I know. If anyone wants to send me a better Batmobile, I'm more than willing to plug that. Like, I will affiliate the shit out of a new wheelchair. One that will ride in the snow would be phenomenal.
That would be fantastic.
All right.
Sweet deal. All right. Take care, everybody, and be safe.